Half of all businesses are dead by the first 5 years. Half. And if you're building like it's 1999, guess what? In 2030, you're gonna get treated like expired milk. Today, we're not talking about motivation. We're talking about survival. Because your competitors are global, your customers are losing the battle of inflation, and the AI is applying for your customers' job. So guess what? You have to deal with a lot of things working towards 2030. Fair use.
And I think what happens for a lot of first-time business owners, they're coming out of a job. So they're coming out of an employee mindset. And I know this one guy, for example, in Phoenix, Arizona, and he decided he was going to start his own business. And he had been an employee all his life. So what's the first thing he does? He goes and rents a nice office space. Then he buys all the nice furniture. Then he gets a secretary. He hasn't made not $1. And he spends all this because he thinks that's what an entrepreneur looks like. Versus go make the money first, then go rent your office. If you even need an office, start out of your home. We all started, all the entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs I know, all started out of their home.
Don't look the part, act like it.
Yes, guys, don't look the part, be the person. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm RJ here with KaiR, and this is where independent thinkers come to build financial durability for the decade ahead. And if you're serious about navigating the economics of 2030, hit the subscribe button and join the newsletter, because the next decade won't wait for anybody.
Every year, millions of people start businesses, guys. And within 5 years, like I said, half of them don't make it. The headline of today is, do we blame laziness or do we blame bad ideas? What we know will happen is that by 2030, a lot will change. A big question we all have, and also that was asked during the World Economic Forum a couple of years back, is by turning 30, will we all be our own boss? This was released in 2016. Just think about it. AI is speeding up competition, platforms becoming toll roads, and of course, capital is no longer cheap. So today, we're gonna focus on two things: why businesses already fail and why the rules get harsher into 2030. Let's anchor this with the core stat, guys. About half of new businesses don't survive the 5 years, and it's just not a startup thing. It's a business thing. They recently mapped the survival rates by state using data, and it's really half survive 5 years. It's really. So the real question is not, can I start? The real question is, can I stay alive long enough to compound on what I put in? Fair use.
My first 9 businesses didn't really amount to anything. 9, as in the first one, spent time, fucking failed. Second one, this one will be different, fucking failed. Third one, this is the one. I'm just painting this picture because like it's painful as shit, because the whole time everyone is telling you, I told you so, and they're right. Today, but not forever. You quit your job because you don't want to work as hard as you are and you want to make more money. But as soon as you quit, you will realize that you are now going to work way harder than you were and you're going to make less money. And here's the really hard truth about it. The first time you do it, it's the biggest rush ever. You quit your job, you do the business, and you get some first traction. And that first dollar that you make when the new business is like the best dollar ever. But it's such a strong reinforcer. That big success of quitting one thing and starting another, you need to immediately forget. Because after that, you have to just stick with it for a very long period of time.
It's definitely very hard to start a new business, especially if you're starting from scratch and you're bootstrapped the business. And that's what I realized. People who come from nothing, I don't mean come from nothing as in from the slums per se, but I'm saying that if you start at a young age and no one knows you to be on a certain level, so you didn't work at a company, had a high position with a lot of money, and then started from scratch. But you're starting as an entrepreneur before anyone knows you. You feel less pressure to make an impression because no one knows you. They think you're poor or you're broke. And so as you're building your things, no one is really, expecting too much of you. And it's okay. However, I find it's very difficult for those who have experienced a certain level, quitting their jobs and starting from scratch, because a lot of times they don't want to lose face and they don't want to lose You know me with a certain car, you know me with a certain salary, you know me with a certain lifestyle. And not everyone can make that shift.
Yeah, it's a hard shift. It's a hard shift.
And that's why they stay in that golden cage, because they want to, but they're not willing to grind and sacrifice, and not willing to fail and take risks. And when you don't have kids, it's okay. When you're young, it's okay. But I can understand when you have a mortgage, when you have debt, when you have family, then you're not only putting yourself at risk, but also other people. So I do understand it. But it's just, I'm not speaking it with a judgmental voice, but it's more like a common.
That's true. That's true. It becomes harder at a certain point. That's why people say it's best to experiment with starting businesses when you're younger, because you have less people to account for. At the end of the day, people get married, they get kids. There's a level of responsibility, right? At the end of the day, you don't want your kid to grow up in a bad environment. You want to at least sustain the same environment. That's always hard. Definitely if you're starting at that same time. So when your kid is young, at the same time, that's probably also the best moment to start, because the kid doesn't know anything yet. So it's a double-edged sword. Let's take a look. Next one, fair use.
I know a lot of entrepreneurs, and I don't know a single person who gave up on starting a business because they were worried they might not make enough money. But I know too many people who haven't had the chance to pursue their dreams because they didn't have a cushion to fall back on if they failed. We all know you don't get successful just by having a good idea or working hard. You get successful by being lucky too.
Yep.
If I had to support my family growing up instead of having the time to learn how to code, if I didn't know that I was going to be fine if Facebook didn't work out, then I wouldn't be standing up here today. And if we're honest, we all know how much luck we've had to get to this point in our lives.
Well, sometimes you got to build the luck on your dad's back. And your dad gets to put you up. At the end of the day, you want it's not a jab towards Zuckerberg. You want your kids to build on top of whatever you built. The safety measures, let's say if you have enough money, your kid can explore more. You don't want them to explore the arts PhD. You want them to explore, let's say, building a technical company, something like that. That can elevate him as well, or her. You don't want the arts part, because before you know it, yeah, we know our people don't. Let's continue. Fair use.
Yeah.
If you're starting a company, you need to work super hard. So what does super hard mean? When my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch and we showered at the YMCA. We were so hot up, we had just one computer. So the website was up during the day and I was coding at night, 7 days a week, all the time.
People underestimate the time and sacrifices you need to put in. People think you get lucky. It's only luck or some kind of, let's call it a network thing. It's not only that, it's also a lot of hard work, because Facebook had a couple of competitors. At the end, they were the one who won that war for the eyeballs of the people. Same can be said for PayPal. They weren't the only ones, but they had the best strategy. And that's how it continues, right? You need to build up on top of that. So if you look at all these things, right, people have a lot of excuses. I need more customers. No, you need profitable customers. I need to reinvest. I mean, sometimes that's true. Let's be honest. Sometimes you need to reinvest. But sometimes it's also a denial with a business license. And of course, don't forget the last one. The product is amazing. The product is the bomb. But the question is there a real market need? I mean, if it's not, you built an artwork, not a business.
What?
So the tough love moment in this situation is the market doesn't reward effort. It rewards value delivered through profitability. I mean, listen, starting lean is good, but it doesn't mean no margin, no plan, no acquisitions, and a pray towards the algorithm gods to help you. I mean, you can even pray to that because the algorithm changes. And if your distribution is rented, your revenue is also rented. So the issue at the end of the day isn't just ambition. It's missing structure, missing the math, and at the end of the day, the math always shows up eventually.
So, KaiR, let's do a simplified math. Say your fixed costs are $8,000 per month, taking into account rental, software, contractor help. and your average profit per sale is, let's say, 80 euro because you do business with Europe. You need 100 sales just to break even. Not to feel good, it's simply to not die. Now here's the killer. Most businesses don't fail because they never make sales. They fail because cash timing destroys them. Money goes out before it comes in. Cash flow, not profit. Oftentimes, KaiR, they also look at their bank and they make decisions based on the money that's on their bank account.
Oh my God.
And when you're starting, I mean, that's understandable because you're starting, but you should be thinking further than that. You might have 40,000 on your bank account. That doesn't mean you can go buy a $36,000 car. You know, so it's oftentimes people make decisions like that. But that's why cash flow mismanagement is cited as a major failure because some studies famously pointed to be the #1 destroyer of businesses. So if your receivables are 60 days, but payroll is every 30, congratulations, you invented a time machine to your own funeral.
Boom.
KaiR.
Your cash flow is like the blood flow of the company, and the little piggy bank you have in the company is also like the fat you have when you're fasting. If the times get rough, you gotta have some fat on the body, because otherwise you'll be a skeleton real quick. Those two always go hand in hand. You have to have cash flow and some money on the bank in order to make it, because you never know when downturn starts.
That's true. That's true. So you can make a decision based on money that's not there yet. But it's the cash flow is the blood flow.
Definitely.
You need to have money on your bank because that's the buffer. But you can't make decisions solely on cash flow, saying, "Oh, I send out 3 invoices, so 100K is going to come in 2 weeks according to the deadline of my invoices. So let me go ahead and start purchasing an $800,000 car." You can't do that.
Why isn't it possible? It's just not. Why not, you stupid?
But yeah, so most businesses don't fail from one thing. It's stacked failures, right? It's usually cash flow plus weak unit economics. As you mentioned, you know, the pricing, maybe the pricing isn't on point or whatever the case may be. Rented distribution, all of these factors equals speed run to closure. And let me just elaborate more on the unit economics quickly. If it costs you $100 to acquire a customer and you only make $60 back, growth makes you die faster. Usually people don't think about it, but marketing and sales costs money. Only the production, well, the sales is the money you get for the production you deliver. So sales is not something in itself you need to deliver, or else you're a scammer. Yeah, shout out to
No shout out to anyone who's out here scamming.
Okay.
Please
got
don't.
it. Sales is only worth something because of the product that you deliver. The product has to have a certain level of quality and so on and so forth. But marketing, customer acquisition, that costs money. Training, that costs money. You're not always seeing the money, because some people might say, no, it's not costing me money. I don't pay anyone. I do it myself. It's costing you money because, or at the same time, you could be doing something related to the production, right? So you also need to know what type of customer to acquire. And benchmarks matter. Margins by industry are not fun either. Margin benchmarks that show how tight some categories really are. For many digital models, for example, people use CLV to CAC ratio. And the CLC to CAC ratio stands for customer lifetime value to customer acquisition costs. It compares how much profit a customer brings over time versus how much it costs to get them, indicating marketing efficiency and business health. The CLV to CAC ratio targets where being meaningfully above 1.1 is the difference between scalable and doomed. So a common healthy benchmark is a 3-to-1 ratio, meaning a customer's value is 3 times their acquisition costs. So ratios above 1.1 show revenue gain, and 5-to-1 ratios or higher can signal potential missed growth opportunity.
Yes. So at the end of the day, it's clear that you have to have a healthy CLV to CAC ratio. You cannot be out here spending $120 to sell a product that's $100 to your customer. It's a problem. You're fast tracking the death of your company. At the end of the day, if you look at the changes on the road to 2030, the environment will get harsher. Competition becomes globally by default. You're not only dealing with the local competitors. It's gonna expand even more. The product cycles get shorter. Customers are more price sensitive. You already can see that right now. Inflation is doing people out there. I mean, it's clear. People are very price sensitive these days. And don't forget about the acceleration of copycats due to AI. So the old playbook, launch once, scale once, it's not applicable anymore. You have to build businesses that are built to change, that are built to not relax. Because at the end of the day, if you look at the data, the World Economic Forum of the Future Jobs Report points out that AI and information processing it will be a major transformational force to 2030, alongside, of course, robotics and automation. So what does this translate to your customer? Your customers' jobs will change. Internally, your employees' roles will change, and your competitors will get leverage if you don't make the right decisions and the right moves. And talking about digital transformations, the highlights show that small, medium enterprises need digital tools for resilience, but that gap will persist. The way you differentiate yourself is by applying and learning to apply these tools as soon as possible for your business, because otherwise your competitor will. And at the end of the day, if you won't do it, they will do it. And guess who's left behind? I mean, at the end of the day, also, this means that the average business is under upgraded for what is coming. So you need to upgrade and get back in the line. So the pressure points we're dealing here with are three. You're talking about the platform tolls that are going up. Ads are getting pricier. It's getting harder to reach the customers because eyeballs are focused someplace else. Capital is not on the level of 2010 to 2021. There's no party anymore. People are not funding haphazardly. Rates are moved up, and even when they are eased, the era of fundraising, a bad math, a bad idea, is less tolerated. And of course, last but not least, AI compresses the differentiation. The average quality rises because if you have the AI systems in place that are correct, you can outbeat your competitors out there. So at the end of the day, design is a problem out of survival. So survival becomes a design problem.
Yeah, so maybe possible solutions. Again, we talked about as well, building cash flow operating systems. And usually you want to do this by week. So you can say, okay, the next 8 weeks, inflows should be this much, outflows should be this much. What's the worst case scenario? If you check cash monthly, you're driving by looking in the rear view mirror. And what I also want to say is the following. If you don't have discipline to do it, or if you don't have the skills or know-how or the time, don't be afraid to look for an external party or someone else to help you with this part, because this is very important. If at the end of the year you want your financial reports, then you're too late because all the decisions are already made. Yeah, you're compliant with the tax and accounting rules, but not with it doesn't really help you, right? 2, validate pain willingness to pay. Interest is not demand. Attention is not revenue. Pre-sell, pilot, or get a contract. If nobody pays, you learn early, cheap. I say the 3rd, lock unit economics before you scale. No CAC, LTV, payback period. If the customer compass is broken, scaling is just amplifying losses.
True.
At 4, own at least one distribution channel. That can be an email list, community, partnerships, referrals, something you control. A16Z's whole point. Picking the right route to market is life or death. Number 5, become an automation first operator. Document the work, systemize delivery, use automation to delinearize labor. OECD's SME digitalization work basically screams resilience is digital capacity. And 6, build optionally, not fragile optimization. Multiple offers, multiple channels, multiple suppliers. If one platform change can delete you, you're not a business, you're a feature. Give them the 10-second test. If you lost your top channel tomorrow, be it Google, TikTok, Meta, do you still have a pipeline? If not, you don't have a distribution, you have hope. You want a bit more than that.
At the end of the day, most businesses don't fail because founders are lazy, guys. These guys are putting time and their heart into the project. But the fail happens because they build a world that no longer exists or will not be existing within these next few years. Times are changing, and 2030 is not rewarding what used to work. AI won't do it. It rewards systems, discipline, real demand, own distribution, and the ability to change fast. So if you cannot do those, work on those things. Work on those frameworks, those six frameworks that RJ basically pointed out, because that will help your business to make the next move, to be ready for the changes that are coming, because they will come whether you like it or not.
Hey, if this episode hits home, that's where the change starts. Make sure you're subscribed and check out the next video. We'll see you in the next one. Until next time. Peace.